Welcome to the Bat Wing. Be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell.
Who rang that bell? We did.
Be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell.
Testing 1, 2.
Be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell.
I think. Good, sir. Bye. Just it's from the test. Wait, night. We're going to continue mapping flights or sighting. What? The road. Like I gotta jump. So I'm still wanted with any those are with. So go here to continue virtual flights and inside simulator. There's in a planet. It's a total existence. We don't have for under they are one Oculus Solar's flight while in helicopter dusting, commercial general anyway to reaching rollers touch. I'll have to take the throttle. The hottest joystick not to go look sure think of it but I'll just like have control in the dark argue around so pay the MIDI send these so that's what is broadcasting various flight simulator addition to so long Windows was a wonderful into your our case that experience several are in mode which is KVR so that power of multiple say creation piece and I like the for meta it makes so that I digital VGS my wherever it is in the world you it's dynamic I can several top with and get it was the later and more than how vaccine to use it this and I think in role just how it of how but this is right having the desktop we just and once I make a mapping I need my I need where it might any so you can operate but music is addition to ability to create YouTube and what happened. So I would like to sound very distinct. We start because either four flights, you know, I went into what I can do it. If it keep, I can stay in path. How do you here? Ground location. Say, like the rank Uno location. I'm stick. So I know what it is until I keep straight. But I'll be against button the tap to ground, and I want to be past the, you know, here just in set audio to in pad the in pads of various, and then up this buttons for those virtual, but also some loop the key mic keep the comment with that it so in there a device student MIDI, and then to MIDI the key press to Microsoft has a custom mapping flight signality to come. All we're trying to those to make do things using some is that I can route keeps from the places and then you know right the one which through the so they get ability new fact like to be a little bit of you know, I'm trying to time at it at the beginning, so the foundation, who knows if merge from that put on my head and like roll up my work. The only thing that I can talk to the to I guess like where that's in. Though I am using this is Adam as the M Pro Mini, the core pad, and I'll use the pilot, the M to 8 dB here, and going to use the disc on the deck. So that way, yeah, trim the run your aileron, you know, something. Oh, is like those are the mini cute audio. So we have a notion 100 MIDI, and they're black 16 is it's common permutation. No. But we're very set. You know, what the hell? What I get? You think it's candy enough? Seriously, in VR, I have a pass code or a pass inside the ocean of having so you can keep MIDI control, right? Things that get relative. That help the muscle know what to do. At least it's like a club on my way. Creative work. Whatever. That video goes. I go emoji and review. See my hand. That MS doesn't do this first trip ads and the way is laid out really straight. The confusion leads a lot. I didn't on the end know how much a bit reach as for files that top near MSQ. These not really get things like deep, but the compass on an indicator maybe and decrease out like that. Where we go? The over with our Vietnam. At least there, like I know in my mind, and I could feel bottom fit that. Pretty much think in what I want and then is that all of the things pretty to any apply. Those may not be 1,000 cockpit. I just simplify your right combination rate of an or you know cockpit system, because basically at that point range with heading the heading, you know, get buttons, the auto pop that premise. I gotta I'll do it's about yellow that on and the way the whole launching it. So we short but I fight and started up. Hey, oh, all right. I need I'll better to make sure I do hear microphone to my head. One, two, test, two. Testing 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. Uh-oh. Well, it's gonna be an exciting broadcast. There's no telling how much of that audio got chopped. But I know why it did. Because play mode was engaged in my DAW. I don't believe I have any audio on the podcast track. However, I did hear button clicks. But now everything sounds stable. Makes you want to restart. But I can't do that. I gotta keep moving forward. Alright, so what I wanted to do is I wanted to switch over to OBS Studio and foreground MetaQuest Developer Hub's casting so that we can see what I'm seeing. And to validate, I'm going to be required to open up my desktops, pop out the broadcast, and yes indeed, you can see what I see. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and click start on Microsoft Flight Simulator. And there's the globe, and we're just going to pick a free flight. And while I'm working, I like to work in my lab, which is situated between the islands of St. Martin and St. Bart's. Princess Juliana International and St. Bartholomew I, Gustav III Airport. We'll go ahead and do our neighbors a favor, and we'll start at a ramp rather than on a runway, because I am on a live server where other people can fly. So I'm going to say set as departure. I'll go back over to Princess Juliana on St. Martin, and I will, just outside of Maho Beach, and this hotel here is the Morgan. I will set that as, you know what? Let's have fun. Let's pick a landing spot, a parking spot. I don't know, maybe this one, if it's available. Set as arrival. Right, so now we have a VFR flight, right, departing runway 10 from Gustav III International Airport. Alright. Looks like wind is coming out at 270 degrees at 2 knots, so it's relatively calm. And it looks like the clouds are 2,512 feet and under. And visibility is 75 nautical miles. Wow. All right. And then so we can depart straight out, enter the pattern for departure, make our little 15, I don't know, 20 miles. Do they show you the distance? Over to St. Martin. Enter downwind entry to the approach pattern. Turn onto the base and then onto final and land. Alright, that'll give us a quick opportunity to validate that we are receiving inputs from the MIDI controllers to communicate with the air traffic control tower. Alright, so I'm going to hit start flight. And then I'm going to bring my multitasking windows into the cockpit, so I'll go ahead and pin it so that it travels with us, the desktops, and my broadcast monitor, and my audio monitor. I have been bringing this keyboard with me, so we could bring that. And the audio monitor, we'll pop that out, take that along for the ride. And then we need the MIDI mapping program. And I'm gonna try to get away with one instance of it, because I think I may have introduced some additional complication when I didn't fully understand that the 24 bits of information and the 3 bytes of MIDI command data, the most significant byte carries in the second or least significant nibble the channel that the MIDI note that data represents, what channel it was received on, and I needed to know that for the DJ200, and in order to separate out the left and right side of it, I split it to 2 separate channels, and then I made 2 instances of this little program listen to different parts. And I don't think I need to do that. So hopefully I can get away with 1 instance of MIDI key to key. It looks like all my windows are in DD pin. And then I'll get into the cockpit and situate them. But since I know I'm just getting ready to fly, I'll throw that way up in the air. I'll put you up there with it. And since this is a desktop as well, I'll throw it up somewhere out of view. I'll minimize this, don't need it. I like to keep my broadcast somewhere relatively visible so it doesn't go away. And I like to keep the audio with it. And maybe since this is part of that effort, I'll put that over there for now. Alright. I'll go ahead and check my batteries. Looks like all the batteries again. And I should be able to throw the VR switch and enter the cockpit. Oh, gotta do the walk around first. A new mode in Microsoft 2024. Okay, so click that button. It's on my HOTUS joystick to recenter. All right, I'll go ahead and hit ready to fly so that we are now in the experience. It is night. I'll do the walk around at night, and I think today I'm going to switch to daytime. Okay, I'll go ahead and click on the strut. We're doing a walk around, like just to be safe, right? You want to make sure everything's functional in the aircraft. So it's a new thing. Remove the shocks and check the time. Alright. And I'm going to need the other controller to walk. I'm going to stand back up and we're going to check the left aileron. It is functional. Alright. We'll remove the pitot tube cover so we can get our indicated airspeed, and we'll remove the static port cover. I still think the barometer must be put down in there so we know what the air pressure is so that we get true altitude readings, because we certainly don't want to find ourselves face down on the ground. Alright. Everything looks good. We'll remove the engine covers and I'll stand back up. And I'll just go around the outside. Going around the outside. Around the outside at Crew Stop the 3rd International Airport. Okay. Right aileron, check. Right flap, check. Duck, approach. Tire, check. Strut, check. Did we complete? No, we didn't do the back. Stand back up. What's happening, fellas? Alright, we're gonna go ahead and check the elevator. Did we get credit? Check. Alright, and the rudder. It doesn't wiggle. It should not wiggle. Check. Alright. And, oh, we didn't do the oil. Oops. My bad. Is there any oil in this thing? That's probably something you don't want to not check. Alright, oil's good. Check. Alright, I'm your host, Nick Art Tonight, aka Nightbat 341. We're getting ready to go ahead and do a test flight. We're going to test our MIDI controller mappings for communication with Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 air traffic control. Now, we've got some cheats, so we don't have to go through the complete switch check. We're going to press the thumbstick button on the Meternet to start it up, turn on all the avionics, the batteries, the, what do you call it? The thing that you always have problems with. Alternator? Yeah, the alternator. The beacon lights, the taxi lights, the nav lights, and the strobe lights to be safe. Alright, so when we talk about me mapping the deck to a trim wheel, this is a trim wheel. And then to the Korg, Nanopad 2, all of these buttons right here. I have 16 pads, so I'm going to map those. So I can just tap at them right here instead of having to do this while I'm flying with one hand on the joystick, right? 2 feet on the rudder pedals down there, and a throttle control over here to my left, right? I don't want to be, so I just dropped one of the controllers on the floor. And I'm in VR, so I could, into pass-through. Now I've just left my flight sim experience to grab this elastic band to fish out my controller. Now, I had ample time to crash right there in that whole process, right? Now, what I did do is I put some fishing rod holders over here on my chair, and I have like a little piece of Velcro that I could latch it down with, right? Only thing I have to be careful of is see how it's bumping into my throttle when I turn it in my chair. And I could do the same thing on this side. And that thing bumps over in, right? But I'm not really wanting to be messing with those. I just want to keep my hand here. And if I need, I just want to reach down here. This is air traffic control, right? If I do want to do multitasking, I want to hit this and interact with my windows. This is for cinematography. These are going to be creative camera angles from the aircraft or from the player's perspective, right? And these are going to be all my air traffic control buttons. And then this, that's to TBD. I haven't come up with that. And I have knobs to be able to, you know, make changes in the cockpit, right? So, you know, like for example, that little teal marker, I can rotate it. I have a switch, right, on my my HOTUS throttle, and for the altitude, I have another switch, so I can move that one. Those numbers are going up, and let's say I have to put my moving altitude. I don't even know what it is for this flight. And then also my vertical speed, apparently that is inactive currently, probably because I'm not in autopilot mode. I do have a button that I'm always hunting for, and I just missed it, and I'm trying to avoid that on this HOTUS throttle to toggle on autopilot. And there it is. Now, does vertical speed work now? No, right? All right, so I don't have a button currently mapped for vertical speed mode on the G1000. So now I have to reach for my controller because I don't have a MIDI mapping for this yet, right? To hit vertical speed. Now, does that work? Yes, it is working. I can see the numbers to the right. If you want to land real smooth, you really kind of want to land around -300 feet per minute. If you want to climb, I like to climb around 500 to 700 feet per minute. But that's when you want to let the autopilot handle your ascent or descent. All right, and then I have to hunt around again on my HOTUS over here to find my. I'm using this button for autopilot, right? So I hit it, and then the AP should go away, right? But I think if I use this over here, right, in the same order as all of this over, I'm trying to point to it. All of this over here, I should be able to quickly just smash the right button, and I don't have to have this in my hand, and I don't have to go hunting all over my throttle, because I don't even have buttons all over the. I think this one is for the flight director, and this is for autopilot. This is to arm the heading mode, and this is to arm this up and down, right? And I was happy to use those. And I don't even remember what these two are. You know, this is my trim, so I can trim my aircraft up and down. So that's what I want to replace this trim wheel with right here, because I'm over here and I want to trim. If you notice in the aircraft, I think we're getting ready to be broken. Yep. I sat too long and they gave me a warning. It's probably something about my oil pressure. I'm gonna have to hit Control E. But anyway, the trim wheel and I'll go ahead and move this out of the way. So I'm kind of giving some background because, you know, it helps to visualize what it is we're trying to control if I talk about it before we get there. All right, so this trim wheel over here, it's a wheel and it's already at my right hand, right? And I can grab it and put it into, that's the takeoff position right there. If you want to push nose up, you keep rotating it down this way. And then nose down, you rotate it like that. And it adjusts. Let's go outside. And I can't do that with this. I gotta reach over here on my joystick to go outside and get into the drone mode. So if you look, you see that flap right there? That's up in the air. That must be what my trim wheel is adjusting, right? So I'm gonna leave the drone here and go back to the cockpit. And then we're gonna flick it all the way the other way. Now I'm looking around for where I laid that controller. Okay, there it is. And I'm gonna rotate this all the way to the nose up position. And then we're gonna go back. And now we notice that my drone, now this thing, instead of being up in the air, it's down, right? And you have to imagine if you're flying forward and that somebody slaps that with a whole lot of pressure, it'll make the tip of the nose of the aircraft want to go down, right? That's just basic physics. Right? So, and then if we want it to be level, we'll go back in the aircraft and then we'll rotate the trim wheel. And so why do we do that? Because at different RPMs or airspeeds, based on the, you know, the center of gravity of the aircraft and, you know, the Bernoulli principle. When I say a golf ball, you know, the aircraft is going to adopt a certain attitude, you know, orientation in space, right? But now we can see that everything is flat. So that's what that trim wheel controls for us, right? And I want to make this my trim wheel control, right? Rather than, you know, necessarily this, because sometimes reaching for this little thing here, it can be a pain, but at least I'll have an option and it gives me something to do. I might, you know, stick to this one, but I'd like to see, you know, compare apples to apples, hopefully, and say, hey, it's a little bit more realistic and smoother when I use this, right? So we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. Okay, so that's the trim wheel. And so the main things I'd like to accomplish today is that trim wheel and these buttons, and also that heading input, the altitude, the FMS buttons, the direct to menu, flight plan, procedure, clear, and enter buttons. I did some range button stuff yesterday, but we couldn't move left or right, but we could increase and decrease range, but we could not pan. But it says push pan, right? But I can pan up, down once it's pushed, but I cannot pan left, right, and I think that is something that Microsoft would have to do something about, because I think that might have been an oversight. I tried every mapping that I could find, but I'll be looking at the forums before I decide whether or not it's impossible. I might do this course and barometer, but I'm counting buttons, right? So there's FMS has 1, 2. All right. Nav has 3, 4. Heading is 5. Out is 6, 7. And then course and barometer. It's just that I'm not sure. I know I have 8 buttons right here. 8 dials. And I'm not sure if I want. The FMS is definitely going to take 2, because it's got inner dial and outer dial. Altitude, I don't think I'm going to be too concerned with the course adjustment. Like, I think I might just require myself to spin it a little faster and only dedicate 1 knob, because I think the inner and outer knobs, if I look at that altitude number up there, that's 1,000 feet at a time, right? And then the inner one is 100 feet, right? But okay, if I have to spin this knob, right, a few more times in order to get, then I can free up a knob. I don't think it's worth it to map the outer course knob, the one that is not as fine grained. Heading, thankfully, is only 1, so I could map one of these to the heading knob. And then nav radio frequency knob, I kind of have been cheating and allowing the assistant to handle the nav radio. They have a built-in, flight assistant that you can allow to handle your radio communications for you. And I just leave that on all the time. But if I wanted to start getting that experience of tuning the nav and the comm radio frequencies, I think I will. All right, so that's 2 buttons, and you have no choice there. So let's look at that. You see, whoops, that outer one is controlling the decimal point and the whole number. Wait, or is it the outer is, yeah, the outer is the whole number part. The fractional part of the frequency is the inner. So if I decide to do that, and I think I should, and in fact, I think I might have found the purpose for these knobs right here. Might let that be these buttons over here. This side is, nav radio and comm radios. Maybe, comm 1 nav 1, comm 1 nav 1, inner dial, outer dial, or outer dial inner, maybe outer dial inner. So I think that's where I'll put my nav stuff. Why? Because it's not used as frequently as the other stuff. All right, let me see if I can start this thing up again, or do I have to restart? I just hit the button that should start her up again. So I think, you do have to sit down and make some determinations before you go running off sideways, right? So this is part of the design process, right? We're designing a hardware software solution to give, maybe someone says, hey, listen, we use Flight Simulator. We got a white label version of Microsoft Flight Simulator that we use to, you know, enhance our ground school. And, you know, we need somebody that can help us, you know, manage modes in the cockpit. Right, we like to use some sort of a control mechanism, and we've got some hardware mock-ups with some buttons that are attached to MIDI controllers. We don't actually use the dot itself, you know, or, you know, an Atom SQ, but we basically have the same thing. We just moved all of the buttons out into a different sort of container and make it more like the actual cockpit. But what we'd like you to do is come in and write the software to, you know, trigger all the associated behaviors and give us the ability to do further customizations. Right, so it's not a waste of time to actually sit here and think through what's the design process. What do I actually have to do to achieve this? And apparently somebody turned the lights down low. I might have to turn that stuff back. But there is a cockpit light somewhere in here that I must have lost control of. I think that's air. Where's the internal cockpit lights? Cabin out? We don't need them, huh? Yeah, I hit the button. I'm sure I did it, but I'm gonna change the weather. All right, so I do have a switch to bring up the VR menu, and hopefully it shows for me. I always have a challenge getting it on the first. There it is. All right, here's weather. I could see me wanting to launch this panel, but I think that might be pointless because in order to move the sliders and stuff, I will need a pointer. But I could see a weather menu button. Why? So I don't have to try to open the VR menu, which doesn't always show up immediately. All right, so now we have different weather, daytime. All right, now let's see. I grab my mouse. This is the thing, I don't know where the mouse is. There it is. For my electronic flight bag. I decided to throw in a towel on this one and not worry about mapping anything to it, because it's very smooth to zoom in with the mouse scroll wheel and pan around by grabbing the surface of the tablet. So that's the approach. And this is the departure. So we'll be able to kind of keep an eye on where we are. Right? So an interesting thing to do could be, all right, while we're at it, we have the departure over there, and maybe we want to put the approach over here, right? But now I should have a button match. Uh-oh. Alright, gotta stop to think for a moment. I did map buttons. Let me push the button. Right there. Now we are in cursor mode. And I would like to pan. Right, let me zoom out. This one is just, see how much harder it is than it was a moment ago when I was happily using electronic flight bag. This is the kind of stuff I don't want to do in VR, to be quite painfully honest. I try to scroll ourselves to St. Martin, and then I'm going to try to zoom in on it so we can look at the arrival side. So it's making me really appreciate the electronic flight bag, because you do have to do a bunch of work. Alright, now I have mapped buttons to zoom in and out. Alright, yeah, this one is too much thinking in order to try to even get close to what I want. Nope, I'm not trying to go down, I'm trying to go right. So that's why if you can't do a physical button on this thing, it's just a pain in the butt. There, I should hopefully be able to zoom in better. See, what I don't understand is why when I try to zoom in, why does it do weird stuff? Like that. Like, that's uncalled for. So, I swear, it pisses me off. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, any buttons that I might have mapped for that. Okay, listen, I'm just gonna leave this thing like that. I'm not gonna mess with it. Electronic flight bag is my friend. Only thing is that I would have to put down the controller. I mean, you know, pick up the controller in order to interact with it. So that's why I'm in here trying to figure out, rather than trying to do all of this with my HOTAS joystick buttons, can I do that with MIDI controller pads? Now I'm trying to start the engine and nothing's happening. So I have damage turned off and I have unlimited fuel turned on. But for some unknown reason, Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, which is recently released, doesn't treat you as nicely. And if you sit on, you know, the flight line with your aircraft running for a long time, it does this. It basically breaks it. So now I need to get the meta keyboard so I can hit escape. I might need to map a MIDI button to escape to bring up the menu. That's probably another high priority item. Alright. Keyboard. Escape. I think the safest thing to do is hit restart. Have to get out of meta menu mode, back to Microsoft mode and hit restart. Just hit restart. Now hopefully you would think, all I did was sit at the flight line, that this loading would be near instantaneous. Now here's the problem. Okay, apparently they spawned some stuff in with tweener, and it bounced into position. Okay, I do have to redo the walk around, I believe. My first inkling, however, is to try to dispense with the majority of the walk around. You have to hit ready to fly. And just say pitot 2 so we can get indicated airspeed, barometric pressure, and engine oxygen. And then I want to just literally hit the jump into the cockpit, push start. Alright, turn on the Garmin multi-function display. Alright, ensure that I have all the required lights on. And alright, I'm good. Now I need the VR menu to give me the weather. I get the weather and then I say, I want more daylight. Something like around this time of day. Because I have a work night coming in. So it should take a while. Alright, now I do need to communicate with air traffic control. So I'll go ahead and collapse the weather. I think I will. Maybe I'll leave that menu up for last 2 minutes. Item 7. I'll get the meta window. And I will turn on my deck. Alright. So I need to stop. Turn on mitigated key port. Restart listening, and then let me hit this button. Alright, that's functional. So that makes me presuppose that these should continue to work as well. Alright, I'll then hit the parking brake, and we should be able to get underway. However, I do need to communicate with air traffic control. Alright, from experience, I'm not going to resize that because it keeps auto resizing to that size. And then I'm going to test my first MIDI button to announce taxi. Alright. Now, I didn't see anything happen, so I will go back into meta mode, bring that over, and hit that button again to make sure that it's engaged. And it is a note on off is 0, so I know that should be functional. So now it's a matter of making sure Flight Simulator has focus. So I just hit the sustain pedal and do it again. All right, now once in a while, for the first time, I do have to click it, which is what I'm trying to avoid.
Tango Foxtrot
yeah.
Juliet Traffic Nightbat 341 Kilo Papa Alpha 7910 is taxiing to runway 10.
Now, it worked. So now, I'm going to take focus away again from Microsoft Flight Simulator up there. Let me bring it in front of my face. Now, with this, let me get that up to the other monitor. Oops, Windows Shift. right arrow. Very good. I need to see the window title bar to ensure that it doesn't have focus. Alright, now I'm going to hit the sustain pedal down here on the floor. So I'm using it with my heel. And now we have focus. And now I want to hit announce taxi.
Tango Foxtrot Foxtrot Juliet Traffic Nightbat 341 Kilo Papa Alpha 7 Niner 10 is taxiing to runway 10.
Alright, so now I just took focus away and I'm getting out of meta mode. So, oh man, can I talk to ATC right now? Now, hit the sustain pedal. What about now?
Tango Foxtrot
Yes.
Foxtrot Juliet Traffic
go.
Nightbat
So I did not have to
341
reach for this
Kilo
controller.
Papa Alpha 7 Niner 10 is taxiing to runway 10. Tango
perfect.
Foxtrot Foxtrot Juliet Traffic Nightbat 341 Kilo Papa Alpha 7 Niner 10 is taxiing to runway 10.
Alright, so the goal right now is to not reach for any meta controllers. Right? So let me hit that button again.
Tango Foxtrot
that's
Foxtrot
good.
Juliet Traffic Nightbat 341 Kilo Papa Alpha 7 Niner 10 is taxiing to runway 10.
Alright, so theoretically, I should be able to avoid the lady over here. But we didn't get to go anywhere. The parking brake is disengaged. I need a button for the parking brake. I have a switch somewhere. Hold on. That's not it. How about now? Oh, I forgot the chocks. Alright, so I do have to get there. I do have to get out of the cockpit in order to fix that. Alright, and back in the cockpit. Alright, now I should be able to get out of here. Okay. Well, the chocks work. I'm gonna assume you're gonna duck. Okay. Alright, so we're taxiing to position. And then we will hold. And we'll hit some buttons and talk to ATC, and then we'll get on with the work night. But, you know, this is memorization. Right? I have to memorize what to do and know how to quickly get out of situations where, hey, no inputs being received. Oh, the app's not focused.
Juliet Traffic Nightbat 341 Kilo Papa Alpha 7 Niner 10 taking off runway 10 departure to the east.
They're not saying anything, but nobody's coming. All right, have a good one out there, fellas. And lady, I think. Full throttle. Looking for 50 knots, 55, and yank a little softly. Let it start to climb. Full throttle. Positive rate of climb. Gears up. All right, flaps up. They already were. Make sure my elevator trim is neutral. All right, so at this point, Alright, pause. Where's active pause? There. Alright. Now, there's the flight plan, right? The GPS track. We're not in it. I wasn't thinking ahead, right? But what I would like to do is test this autopilot out real quick. So right now, since we don't have buttons map, I have to use the controller, and I have to say, well, I want to be in nav mode, right? And the flight director engaged, and I can turn it on and off. All right, and tell it it's going to be in nav mode, and then I'm going to engage autopilot, and I want to see what it's going to do. I'm approaching a mountain, right? Let me turn the menu off over here and over here. Okay, and I want to see if it's going to follow that pink line. So at least I'm picking up a new skill today. All right, so now I'm in full throttle. I'm gonna get out of this, and I want to see if it starts to track that GPS track. And I would have to say it's not.
Juliana approach Nightbat, 341 Kilo Papa Alpha 7 Niner 10 is type Cessna Skyhawk, 1 miles east of Sierra Bravo Hotel, 700 feet. Request flight following.
So,
Nightbat 341 Kilo Papa Alpha 7 Niner 10 Juliana approach. Squawk 1314.
now we're getting further and further away from
Squawk 1314 Nightbat.
the GPS.
341 Kilo Papa Alpha 7 Niner 10.
So I'm gonna pretend
Nightbat 341 Kilo Papa Alpha 7 Niner 10 radar.
that we just took off.
West of Tango Foxtrot. Foxtrot. Juliet 1,200 feet QNH 101
Don't sink. Don't sink. Don't sink.
Roger, Nightbat 341 Kilo Papa Alpha 7
And I'm gonna
910.
pause. Let him do all that talking. Alright, so here's the deal.
Don't sink. Don't sink.
The GPS
Don't sink. Don't
is
sink.
pointing off to our left,
Don't sink. Don't sink.
right?
Don't sink. Don't sink. Don't sink. Don't sink. Don't sink. Don't sink. Don't sink.
I'm looking for the control.
Don't sink. Don't sink. Don't sink. Don't sink.
Alright, now this tells me whether or not I want to map this course dial,
Don't sink.
and it's looking like I might want to.
Don't sink. 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 Don't sink.
Alright, I don't see it moving.
Don't sink. Don't sink.
I'll tell you what.
Don't sink. 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 Don't sink.
I'm gonna need some time.
Don't sink. Don't sink. Don't sink. Don't sink.
Alright.
Don't sink. Don't sink. Don't sink. Don't
Alright,
sink.
let me adjust my pitch.
Don't sink. 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 Don't sink.
Now,
Don't
autopilot is not currently engaged, but I want to see if
Don't sink.
that course dial
Don't sink. Don't sink. Don't sink.
is going
Don't sink. Don't sink.
shit. Do what I need.
Don't sink. 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 Don't
And
sink.
it's not.
Don't sink.
Right?
Don't sink.
So,
Don't sink. Don't
pause.
sink. Don't sink. Don't sink. Don't sink. Don't sink. Don't sink.
I swore
Don't sink.
that
Don't sink.
you could
Don't sink. Don't
change.
sink. Don't sink. Don't sink.
Maybe because I have GPS Mode engaged.
Don't sink, 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 don't sink.
Alright, now can I change the course?
Don't sink, don't sink, don't sink, don't sink, don't sink, don't
It's
sink,
not moving.
don't sink,
Alright,
don't sink, don't sink,
course deviation indicator, GPS.
don't sink, don't sink, don't sink, don't sink, don't sink, don't sink,
Try to change
don't sink, don't
the
sink,
direction of the course.
don't sink, don't sink,
I don't see any numbers changing.
don't sink, don't sink, don't sink, don't sink, don't sink,
So
don't sink, don't sink,
that's bothering me.
don't sink, don't
I
sink,
think I just moved the barometer by accident.
don't sink, don't
Okay, that's something you don't want to do.
don't sink, don't sink, don't sink,
Alright, so I'm going to
don't sink,
hand fly. I just wanted to see if it would follow the pattern, but
don't sink, don't sink, don't sink, don't sink, don't sink,
it should be able to do it. That's the thing that's bothering me.
don't sink,
Like,
don't sink,
if I move us around
don't sink, don't sink,
in slew mode,
don't sink, 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 don't sink,
like I personally can see
don't sink, don't sink, don't sink,
the
don't
next waypoint.
don't sink, 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 don't sink,
And I want to see
don't sink,
if it's gonna flip that around for me. Like,
don't sink, 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 don't sink,
I'm kind of disappointed
don't sink,
that, first of all, I can't seem to change that
don't sink, don't sink,
track
don't sink,
to point up.
don't sink, don't sink,
Because looking over at the EFB, I can see that I just hit that first waypoint,
don't sink, don't sink,
and now I can see that the course is basically
don't sink,
following,
don't sink, don't sink, don't sink, don't sink, don't sink,
right? So I'm looking over here,
don't sink,
and
don't
I can
sink,
see that I'm following the course manually, but the autopilot's supposed to do this for me.
don't sink, don't sink, don't sink,
And active pause. This course deviation indicator is showing me with the GPS like I'm flying in the opposite direction that would bring those two lines together. And that's what you want. You want a solid arrow, right? So it's telling me in order to bring it together, I have to fly opposite, right? And the other thing that's getting me is that normally you would grab this course knob in the middle and you would start rotating it and I would expect to see this dial change direction and that 312 degrees, like, took that number to change. So I'm like, what's going on? What am I tripping? Like, if I go to course deviation indicator and then I start turning the course dial, it does what I expect. If I just so wanted, to have that forward like that. But I was expecting it to behave the same way, right? If I wanted to change this to face up. But I think the answer to that is no. So I think I have to make this left-hand turn manually. Or I can go to nav mode. But see, nav mode is not gonna do it. It's just gonna let me keep flying out that way. It's not gonna take over. Now what I could do is go into heading mode after changing the heading bug to be in line, or just like cut across my course and then go into heading mode and then engage autopilot and then get out of active pause. So, and then I need to arm nav mode. Arm it. Right, so GPS mode is in standby, but it's not going to do that until we capture our heading and get close. So the flight director's pink. Our actual attitude is the yellow chevron. So we're trying to match the flight director because we're in autopilot. We're in heading mode and pitch mode, right? I'm not really concerned with the altitude yet, but I could say, let's go vertical speed and then down some reasonable value, minus 100 feet per minute. So now we're in vertical speed mode, trying to capture no altitude because we don't know what it is, but it's looking like we want to capture about 1,500 feet. So now I probably want to change my altitude, and I'll just do that over here. All right, so now we're still in heading mode, and we have an intercept for our GPS track. So these pink lines should come together, and then we should switch out. And we're not yet, anyway. Okay, so there's a discrepancy between those teal markers and the actual course. And that's a known thing in the community. They're saying that those teal markers are for people on Xbox. But I can see my GPS is trying to get into these pink boxes on the screen here. And the pink line is starting to come together. And our yellow chevron is following the flight director. And we are sort of going into the boxes. So like if it were cloudy, you know, pea soup, thunderstorm, we need to learn how to fly by instruments. But I'm trying to make sure I can do it with the buttons, so that when I map the MIDI controller, I know what buttons are important, and then I'll have the skills to be able to test it. So I figured I might as well, instead of just flying this by hand, I might as well go ahead and engage with some of these buttons before I start doing the tedious mapping work. So we're just following a pink line all the way to the airport. Alright, so now if I reach over and grab the mouse, and this is also good practice for muscle memory, I can zoom out on that electronic flight bag. And see, that's interesting, because the flight bag agrees with those teal markers over there to the right. Because we're to the left of the line and we're to the left of those teal markers in the air. However, down here in our Garmin G1000, he's like, hey, we're right on the line and it's together. And here you are, right here, this dot on the line. So they need to get those in sync because that's just going to confuse a bunch of people. That's just confusing. And then the EFV does have the approach laid out. And we are headed towards what I would assume is our final approach fix. Or initial approach fix. IAF. Which would be, that's interesting. I can zoom, but the text doesn't get bigger. So it's like whatever that waypoint is, we're headed there. Downwind leg, right? So now if I say, hey, what's that marker, right? Right now, I don't have any buttons to bring up flight plan. I can see that I'm going from runway 10 to runway 10. So I don't even have a procedure. If I go for procedure and I say select approach, right? What button do I need? Enter. What approach? Well, that's a good question. Suppose I said visual 10, right? So on the FMS, the enter knob, and I don't know, I'll hit enter. And then I have a choice of vectors. I guess that's it. Enter. Off. Enter. Enter. Final. I see straight. And I don't know. I guess I could choose it. Or final approach fix. I don't know. But I know one thing. I'm having a bitch of a time fucking with this. That's why I don't want to deal with these controller shit. I'm convincing myself. Let me go final approach, fix it, enter. I couldn't tell you. Load. Load there. Now what just happened? I have no clue. Straight follow. It looks like I'm going to some mixed approach thing. Let me see if I can change my... Yeah, hitting this thing is pissing me off. It's doing all kinds of weird shit, and you're trying to do something, you don't have a whole lot of time, right? Because we're approaching the runway. And we're getting ready to do some weird stuff. So, it's not worth it. I want something, and look, it's the reason why it's acting up is because it's got a grip on that window. It's like, nah, man, I'm putting it down. I ain't doing that. I don't have the mind for that shit today. So GPS is taking us over the airport. That's all it's going to do. So I'm going to turn that off. Right, so I have the autopilot button down here somewhere. I'm yanking the stick. I'm going to follow that tail pattern. I'm going to activate my ATC buttons. I'm going to say
Tower Nightbat 341 Kilo
request
Papa
for
Alpha
stop.
7 910 6 miles south 1700. For to land.
Nightbat 341 Kilo Papa Alpha 7910 Tower. QNH 101 Tree Fly, left downwind runway 12.
Acknowledge.
Make left traffic runway 12 Nightbat 341 Kilo Papa Alpha 7 910.
Alright, so I don't see the ribbon. There it is. They just turned it on for me. Okay, so like right now I would love to, you know, make an adjustment with that electronic flight bag. See where I am. Alright, and see the pink line. Alright. I want to see if they agree. So I'm looking over there. I should appear in a minute. It's not like I'm going slow, so why? Because right now all I can do is look at it. I would have to get my hand, I'm hand flying, I'd have to get my hand, like I could do this with the trim wheel, pitch my nose up and avoid that mountain
500.
and steer with my feet, but I see my plane showing up, finally.
Nightbat 341 Kilo Papa Alpha 7910 wind calm. Cleared to land runway 12.
There seems to be a bit of a discrepancy about
Clear
the
to
pink
land
line.
runway 12 Nightbat 341 Kilo Papa Alpha 7 910.
Alright, now we look like we're kind of on the route.
$500.
Alright, I'm losing out soon because I don't have enough RPM. I just gave it a little bit more. Alright. Now I can pull this back. Alright. Check my airspeed. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and put in 2 notches of flaps. Check my airspeed. The prediction is that I'm getting ready to stall, so I'm gonna give it throttle and watch the airspeed climb back up. Alright, so now the predicted speed is about VR. Nope. Somewhere around 55 knots. I probably want to come in at 65 in the 172. But I like to be right around VR so I could stall it pretty quick. Oh, you do? Somewhere around 55, 60. Because if I pitch for Earth a little bit, pitch down, and I look at the horizontal, what is that, situation indicator? See how I'm gaining airspeed with the nose down, so I need to pull throttle back? And I probably would have to trim for that so I could release some pressure on the stick. So trim my nose forward by rotating the trim wheel. And then I have to pull back because I can't let that yellow horizontal line reach the top of that white line because that'll break my flaps. or overstress them. Alright, so right now I might be trimmed too steep down. And the flight director wants me to turn a whole lot sooner. Let's see if I try to match what the flight director's telling me to do. Yeah, he's telling me to go somewhere else. Alright, so that's what I mean. We gotta get rid of all those discrepancies. Because there's no arrival or approach pattern in this GPS. So this flight director is trash right now. I might as well turn it up, right? Is that the, yeah, that's the same thing with GPS. GPS was just going to the center of the airport because I didn't have an approach procedure dialed in. But this is not about flight planning, it's more about autopilot button mapping to the MIDI controllers. And I'll just have to say that I got enough information to get down the road some more today. Alright, I'm pulling throttle back. I'm pitching for Earth.
500.
Alright, now let's look at, I went about 3 degrees. I'm hot, coming in high already. Somewhere between 3 and 5. Throttle is already all the way gone. We're gonna be coming in fast because my nose is pitched towards Earth. But we're coming in around 65 knots. And now I'm gonna start rounding it out close to the ground and just let it settle down. It's gonna eventually reach stall speed.
Nightbat 341 Kilo Papa Alpha 7910, contact ground on 118.
We're actually down. That was so smooth that you couldn't even tell we landed. What? That was so smooth you couldn't even tell we landed. So it's not a...
341 Kilo Papa Alpha 7910, did you hear my last transmission?
Oops. Here. Oops. There it is. Oh wait. I'm hitting the button. Alright. Hit the sustain pedal.
Nightbat 341 Kilo Papa Alpha 7910, did you copy?
I'm trying. Alright, sustain pedal. That's what I mean. Even though I'm foregrounding, there's some other interaction which is preventing me from giving feedback.
Nightbat 341 Kilo Papa Alpha 7910, did you copy?
Going to 118.
Oh, I was hitting the wrong button. Okay.
Papa
Never
Alpha
mind.
7910.
I was tripping. Oh
Juliana
shit.
Ground Nightbat 341 Kilo Papa Alpha 7910 taxi to the gate.
No, I didn't. I meant that was a mistake.
Nightbat 341 Kilo Papa Alpha 7910 taxi to gate Charlie 9er using taxiway Echo.
Nah, I don't want gates.
Taxiing to gate Charlie 9er via
No,
taxiway Echo Nightbat 341 Kilo Papa Alpha 7910.
This time I want to see if they give me the parking spot that I chose. But now, see, that non-reception of input, I swear that sometimes that's just them being done. Because I did not remove focus from the application. I did not interact with anything else. And I am hitting the appropriate button this time. But this same thing, I know it's a bug because when I'm in career mode and I'm flying a career mode mission, it happens with no matter what you hit keyboard input. Like, let's see what happens if I hit keyboard 1. Alright, pass through. One. See, they're accepting keyboard input 1, but it's not actually causing anything to occur. Ground services is what I want. And it's not doing anything, right? So now, if I hit my MIDI button, I hear the click, and see, if I hit double click, triple, quadruple, now I can ensure that it's changing state. But it's like they're swallowing inputs and ignoring it. So Asobo has a lot of work when it comes, and this is not only VR, I'm sure. This is the kind of stuff that people complain about online. But when you're doing something complicated on top of an existing platform, you kind of are hoping for stability before you start building on top of it. But when it eventually gets, because your level of trust goes down, right? You're like, I don't really know if I can trust it. I don't know that I want to put forth the effort. You know what I mean? Like, you have all those kind of thoughts. Anyway, I'm not going to follow that ribbon. I'm going to grab a spot and call that success. But I'm not. I'm going to face. I don't want to stare at somebody standing still all day. I don't know. I don't really feel like being here. I'm going to just slew it all the way to St. Bart's.
Nightbat 341 Kilo Papa, Alpha 7 910, you were not cleared to take off.
Really?
Nightbat 341 Kilo Papa, Alpha 7 910, you were not cleared to take off.
Juliana Tower, Nightbat 341 Kilo Papa, Alpha 7910, is 9 miles southeast 1,800 feet with Delta to land.
Nightbat 341 Kilo Papa, Alpha 7 910, Juliana Tower. QNH 10, 1 tree enter left, traffic runway 10.
Alright, let's see if we can get away with a landing.
Stall.
They're trying to break me already. Okay, so let's see if we could say acknowledge pattern entry, right? Adjust my trim. Alright, give us some throttle. Try to get that negative feeling while moving.
Kilo Papa, Alpha 7 910, acknowledge last transmission.
Nearest airport.
Juliana Tower, Nightbat 341 Kilo Papa, Alpha 7910, is type Cessna Skyhawk 5 miles east of Sierra Bravo Hotel 1,400 feet. Request flight following. Tango, Foxtrot, Foxtrot, Juliet, traffic nightbat. 341 Kilo Papa, Alpha 7, Niner 10 1300. Ford inbound to land runway 10.
I just announced position. Now there's nothing else for me to do. But this is the thing, I don't have any way to scroll this list. Except for that. And this is basically just announce. I can hit 0 to go back. I never tested that button. Alright, so that should be 9 and 0. Yep. That would be correct. Alright, so apparently I don't have those set up. So I'm not sweating it. I'm just gonna put it down and then start working. Alright, so I already had some negative energy show up based on, you know, early days of 2024 implementation. Alright, we need a button to scroll up and down on the menu. Like if you have a window open, like I'd have to give it focus to even be able to use the scroll wheel or something like it. Like if I do grab my mouse, I might just start getting in the habit of, like, see, I don't want to be doing this, but at least I have my mouse there. I probably need to put a trackball next to my joystick and just call that done. Why? Because if I reach for my mouse right now, right, I can roll the scroll wheel to go up and down this list. But if I'm doing that, I might as well just use the mouse to click the selection. But right now, I'm flying with my feet and the trim wheel, right? In order to be able to use my right hand to do something else. And I just feel like putting my damn hand on there to make a selection with a mouse has nothing to do with flying, right? So now I'm, you know, multitasking in order to send information. Now, if all I had to do was hit a button, you know, like I'm gonna lie and say I'm gonna go around, and they say you're gonna do what? And they're like, we're not doing anything. And I'm like, well, what the fuck? What do you mean I'm not doing anything? And then I'm like, well, hit the button with my foot and then hit it again. And hit it again. Alright, and then I say, well, y'all didn't accept 7? And I don't know why the wind is blowing me crazy. The wind is coming at me at 2 knots. There's no legitimate excuse. Alright, cut me some throttle. Alright, so now why I'm not getting any input, I don't know. Could it be because I clicked on that up there? Let me click on some other kind of button type. And now I'm gonna try to hit 7. And that didn't work. Right? So let me try to hit 1. Because it could be that I didn't map 7 properly. And 1's not working.
$500.
Alright, so that's not happening. So then I grab the controller again. It's like, it's hit or miss, man. There's no idempotency, no predictability, no repeatability. It's unstable. Alright, let me go and enter meta mode. Click on the app. Give it focus, get back out, and then I'm hit 1. And it works.
Tango Foxtrot Foxtrot Juliet Traffic Nightbat. 341 Kilo Papa Alpha 7910 800 feet inbound to land runway 10.
It's like they're forcing me to grab that damn controller to give it focus. I swear. Right? But hold on, I don't even want to land yet. Because up here I have the ability to make ATC choices. Okay, so now I'm gonna still focus again. Go to meta mode. Cut my throttle for a second and get the nose to drop. Give it some more throttle. Alright, now I'm gonna click on some other window and then I'm gonna get out of meta mode. So hit the menu button, pull back on the throttle, my nose is jumping up. Full throttle. Alright.
500.
Now, I don't have focus, right? So I'm gonna try to hit a button. 1. 1. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. No, right? Now I'm gonna mash. I'm gonna depress the sustain pedal with my heel. And I just focused the app. Now hit 1.
Tango Foxtrot Foxtrot Juliet Traffic Nightbat. 341 Kilo Papa Alpha 7910 700 feet inbound to land runway 10.
And that worked, right? So, as a developer, you would expect a certain behavior to be computationally repeatable, predictable, consistent. What's the word? There's a word. In computational theory, right? Theory of computation. But repeatable, predictable, not idempotency. That means you could, you could follow for a request at a URL or whatever and get the same output every time. Or you could post the number 5 to an endpoint and you could do it over and over again. Or something to that effect. Idempotent. But when something's repeatable, predictable, I was thinking, words like automata popped into my mind. State machines popped into my mind.
500.
There's a word I'm looking for. where for the same given input, you will always get the same output. What is that I'm trying to figure out? All right, let's see if we can stall it with the big voice and get out of here. I got on the brakes too hard. Why? Because I wanted to see if I could make it off this runway before the exit, and I could not. That's the game I play at St. Bart's. I'm always disappointed when it fails miserably. Take out the light. Just can't make the turn over here. You have to go all the way down to the end if you don't get off. I should have, what do you call that? Full rudder, full aileron opposite. That's gotta be a name of a move. Slip. It'll be a hard slip to drop altitude and airspeed. It totally uncoordinated. But I wanted to see if I could just come in full flaps. But I was coming in a little quick. Alright. I know that plane can't land here. It's funny. They show you all of the planes they have up for grabs, but they don't all belong here. Now that one, what's that? Pilatus? I think that one can land here. Like these two. That turboprop. Is that turboprop? I don't know, I haven't memorized all these aircraft. That looks like a Grand Caravan or something. That one. Yeah, it's just the bigger ones I don't expect to see, but I've seen some other really big things out here. Alright, well, we're getting ready to go for it. I like my other parking spot better. I don't know, it looks like it's probably taken. Chop, chop. They got them all lined up. Okay. You're in a hurry, you don't actually try to. Oh wow, I can't turn past this car. Well. That's one way. Alright. I can see anybody coming, right? Or I can bring. If they come down that hill, I can see them landing. Okay, good. That's what I'm working today. Great. Now, I think now I need to the one thing I don't want to see is this aircraft go dark while I'm trying to button that one. Alright, here's the window. Here's the window. What else do I need? Studio One. I think I'm gonna pop that out too. It's just a giant icon that I can't make any smaller. Right. Keyboard. Always trying to figure out where I want something. It's gonna move 1,000 times. Watch this, better. Alright. What did I want? I wanted the escape menu. That's gonna be the easiest one. Alright, I need Visual Studio Code. Because I have already mapped some of these. Now, here's a question. That's field. What do you call that? Filling my field of view. Where's the broadcast? That's filling the screen right there. Alright, do we have wasted space? Indeed we do, right? Now, control. Yeah, hold on. Control. Okay. What do you do? Control plus. Yeah. Alright, what do I have? I'm looking for that escape method. What's channel 1 equals 1, channel 2 equals 1, channel... Oh, all channels. It's listening on. That's how you would enable and disable the listeners. Alright, I get that. I want log window, yes. I don't know about sysx, but those are switches. We are not sending MIDI out, but we are getting MIDI in from that port. Alright, chat. TS listeners, active listeners, holding interval and local. Action 0. That's their default. When I got the app, it had that. Action 1 is the first one that I created. I'm not creating one to toggle the flight assistant, apparently on channel 10. 90 is a note on, the 9 means channel 10. And then 18 is the note, and XX is the velocity. The velocity is actually 10, or 0A, because it's 10. So this is decimal. That's decimal. Alright, got it. But this is hexadecimal. And XX is, we don't care that lower order byte of 24 bits is the velocity value that we're listening for in order to activate action 1, which is to put out a keyboard Alt 1. I got it. Why? I want to read this so I could generate it instead of having to type all of it. In the user interface. Like, I don't want to do all that. Oops. Fix. Down here. I don't want to do all that in this window. I'd rather go into this text file and edit it. I believe. Although it's not very difficult, especially when you have new. I think editing directly is in the case when you have long runs. Only problem is that you need to know what MIDI note you're hitting, right? So what do you mean? Well, for example, let's think about what buttons I'm trying to do next. Well, I want to get that escape out of the way. But I currently have no idea. I don't care about the flight assistant yet. Toggle nameplates is something easily testable. That's also on channel 10. But that's all subject to change because I don't know where I want that to be yet. So I have to stop to actually think about that. Okay, I think I'll put that on the atom. The row closest to me on the atom SQ. Alright, so let's bring up the atom SQ. It's taking me a while to get started today, apparently. The atom impact, I already got it open. what octaves? I need a mapping. Alright, so okay, organization to get this done. I want Copilot because hopefully that session is still open somewhere. But she's not showing up. She's like, well, I would show up, but you pull what? What did I just do? That was the trip. Hold on a minute. Somebody explain. That's main desktop. This one, she's over here. Okay. Alright, what? Alright, Copilot. Is this the Copilot instance? No. Oh yes. It is here. Okay. I agree that C0 to C1 is going to be the DBJ. And then I said C2 to C3 will be something else. That might be the atom. Okay, so if I go with that idea and then bring Visual Studio back into the mix. You know what? Let's do this. Let's pause for a moment. Alright. The first octave is C0 to B0. We're going to click that Excel button. Did you do an Excel download somewhere? Edit in Excel. Did you open that in a browser or did you open Excel? Opportunity to learn. And where might it be? Alright, I'm gonna minimize the app. Because certain apps prevent others from foregrounding. Alright, here, this must be Excel. Check. So let's go down the list. And I'm gonna pop out Excel. And I'm gonna open them in Excel. C1 to B1. And then I want to combine it. Now, can you do that? Can I grab one and move it? Or is that the same, or is it a different tab? Let's do the next one. C2 to B2. C3 to B3. C4 to B4. C5 to B5. C6 to B6. C7 to B7. C8 to B8. And C9 to G9. Alright, now this kind of is a big nuisance, but I'll leave it over there. Now, go those were not downloaded per se, but they are all on different tabs. Now, what I don't like is that it's not like a Excel instance proper, but it is in documents. I'm in OneDrive Live now. I got sheet 1. This is the very first one, right? This is 90. The next one is 90. Alright. But let's look at the note of this. C1. Where's C0? This is C2. That's C3. That's C4. That's C5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, right? Where's C0? There. How do I combine I don't want to follow screens. I don't want to do that. I want to combine. Alright, so now I'm going to ask her. Hey, you provided me some Excel spreadsheets of the MIDI mappings. I would like to have them all combined in one document. I'm wondering, since it opened up in the browser, do I need to save each one of these spreadsheets separately and then somehow open them up in a desktop version of Excel? So that way I can save it to my hard drive and keep them as one, giant Excel file with multiple tabs.
To combine multiple Excel spreadsheets into one document with multiple tabs, you can follow these steps. Save each spreadsheet. Open each spreadsheet in your browser. Save each spreadsheet to your desktop by clicking on File, Save As, and selecting the location on your desktop. Open Excel Desktop Application. Open the Excel Desktop application on your computer. Combine spreadsheets. Open the first spreadsheet in Excel. For each additional spreadsheet, follow these steps. Open the spreadsheet in Excel. Right-click on the Sheet tab at the bottom and select Move or Copy. In the Move or Copy dialog box, select the workbook you want to move the sheet to, the first spreadsheet you opened. Choose where you want to place the sheet in the workbook and click OK. Save the combined workbook. Once all the sheets are combined into one workbook, save the combined workbook by clicking on File, Save As, and choosing a location on your hard drive. By following these steps, you can combine all your spreadsheets into one Excel file with multiple tabs. If you need further assistance, feel free to ask.
Don't forget police resistance. Documents. Watching the paint dry. I think I went too far back. Wow. Not weird. Skip up. What is OneDrive documents photo? I wish she would have just given it to me. What names? Alright, hold up. Preview and rename. Date modify. What's this one? Preview. What a bitch. Alright, so hold up. If I multi-selected and then said open these, what would happen? Is that going to be a problem? Oh shit. Alright, let me try this. Double click. Alright, close cover. How about if I shift select? Select the first one. Shift select all of them. Control select the one I didn't name type. Not control fit. Yeah, and then drag and drop. Oh, but come on, man. They said nah. Are y'all shitting me? Come on, how high? What the fuck? When you're trying to do it in VR, you're like, you're not really sure it's worth the effort. I want to grab these and drop them here. Windows is the drag and drop platform, right? And I swear I just got a preview. But I wouldn't swear by it. Alright, trying to get my mind around what I'm seeing. A lot of stuff happening. Oh, look, it was taking a while to think about it. Hey, Copilot, combine all of these into one document. Because, like, right now, this shit is like that. Alright. This is the C0 document. All of this is noise that I did not intend. You did something weird. I hope she doesn't tell me open them all one by one. I'm like, well, I just closed them all. Alright. Now, what am I looking at? Let's try to keep it separate. This looks to me like File Explorer. This looks to me like it's in the way. Windows Shift Other Monitor. Alright, this looks to me like I wanted to dock it to the right. And I probably want to dock it on a bigger monitor. In fact, I'm just going to maximize it. I'm going to close this keyboard and I'm going to maximize that. Now what I want to do is, I know that's my File Explorer and this is Excel. Now what I want to do, I would like to switch Excel to dark mode or something, but first thing I thought was like most people want to do that. What's this? Benefits. Okay, look at this. It's really unfortunate. She should have saved them with a descriptive name. If I click that, this is C0. I want to rename the file. Alright, I don't see. Without having a preview, I wouldn't have hopes of knowing what to call this thing. So now I'm quickly trying to get my mind around, or slowly trying to get my mind around Excel. Info. Alright. I can't do anything. Alright, but time out. I'll combine them in a minute. My real concern is if they are giving me a preview over here to the right, I can see that this is C7. I don't know which one that I actually have. Like if I click this, that one is C6, right? Now I should be able to hit F2 and call that C6. And then click this one. That one is C7, F2, C7. That's all I wanted to do. Alright, it's just that the preview took forever to generate. That's C5, F2, C5. This one, octave, is C4, F2, C4. This one is C9, F2, C9. This one is C8, F2, C8. This is the level of stress that I want. Like if it could just stay like even killed like that, Certain tasks in VR are easier than others. F2, C3. Like, I don't mind the repetitive nature of this right here. C2. Dealing with narrow scroll bars, that's a stressor. C1. And the thumbstick not scrolling on anything that's a scrollable list, that's a stressor. Alright, now, combining all of these spreadsheets, I know I can't do it here. But what's this one? Did I miss one? That's C0. This one should be C0 also. But apparently they haven't generated a preview for that file yet. It's still in the cloud, right? So now I need to get that down. Long press. Like, how do I tell you, go get it? Alright. Now, what's the preview look like? Where's my preview? Hello? You preview all the other ones. Generate preview. That kind of shit. That's the kind of shit. Oh, thank you. Took a while. Oops, back. Nope. Alright, so now I'm screwed. Forward. Up. Like, how did I clicked the wrong thing and I wound up getting away from my documents. Sort by date. It's thinking about it. Alright. This one right here. Trash. They're like, you can. It's open. Okay. Okay, now. Alright. I want to close all of these tabs. I see they did update the name stuff. Delete now? Yes. Now, if I want those to always be available on my device, can I do that as one large group? No, I had to be better at this. I have to wait to see what happens. But yeah, I was still going to close all of this. What the fuck? Alright, now. I don't want to read that. Okay, now. I don't know if they're doing it, did it or not. Now, I do not have an instance of Excel open yet, right? So I'm gonna open C0 and make you the master again. The main. Okay, here we go. Open with Excel. There's Excel. Up, open an instance. Keep it somewhere so I can always get back. Okay, now. She gave me some instructions about combining the mic. So, open the first spreadsheet. For each additional spreadsheet, follow these steps. Open the spreadsheet in Excel. Right-click on the Sheet tab at the bottom and select Move or Copy. So I have to do that over and over again. Right-click on the Sheet tab at the bottom and select Move or Copy. Alright, so C0, C1. Right? Now, can I do that without opening Personal? No. Open. Alright, so if I said open, I'm expecting an Excel to open somewhere. This is how long does it take, guys? Is it open? How many instances of Excel do I have? 2. Right. I'm just sitting for grounding. Alright, so now on this one, click on the sheet. I don't see Move or Copy. Isn't that what she just said? It's taking up too much space for the side. I have 2 of those. Where's Copilot? All right, Copilot, help me out. How do I keep my MIDI mapping document? Well, my goodness. Alright, that's C0. How about that? Now, this one. Open the spreadsheet. Right click on the Sheet tab at the bottom. I did. Long press and release. And then select Move or Copy. And then to C0. C0. What the fuck? Do I have to say create copy? and then hit C0. And then move to end and click OK. Sheet 1, 0, sheet 2, 1. Alright, and then if I don't want to do over and over the same thing, can I say File, Open? No, we don't want to share. File, Open, C2. Why did we bring that? Copy. Alright, I want to move it to the end. I want to create a copy, and I want to move it to C0. C0. I'm looking at C2. Move or copy to book. Drop down C0. Why can't I select the create a copy? C0. Let me see if they do it with a mouse. Sometimes it's as simple as they can't make sense of the touch controller. And then I'm like, it's like, why you guys won't let me click C0? See what I'm saying? That was a touch controller input issue rather than anything else. And if I say file open, then they're just going to give me a whole nother window. How about open in the same window? Or import. Implementations are never what you want. I don't know what it is in the modern era. Like, who did they interview? It's like, what, you know, did you guys seek out feedback? I'm looking for secret. Close the shit. I'm getting upset. I don't see C3. Now I have to get this, so I can get this in my face. Alright. Now let's go back. Sheet 1, C0. Sheet 2, C1. Sheet 3, C2. Where is C3? Did I not save C3? Is this not C3? It is. Just double click it. C3. Long press. Now, why does that not work over here? Because that's just an active icon popped out of somewhere. So, what's the issue? Well, this one. What's what? What's what? What's this? Are you something I'm willing to let go of? Yes. And you, I'm that. Now I need you to get to the documents. And you, this one's like, hey, I'm the one you're trying to create. I'm like the master copy. Okay, my master list. Now, what are you? I'm your desktop. And I'm your working desktop. And I'm like, is that C3? Yes. It can open a context menu. And I say, move or copy. And then they say, where? And I say, I need you to go to C0. And they're like, nah, not with the controller. I'm like, what's wrong with my controller? But I could do it with C0, move to the end. Alright. I'm going to create a copy. Okay. Now, apparently, it doesn't matter. I'll close it when I'm done with it. I'll go to C4 and double click to open. I'm hoping it opens up on that desktop. It does. Alright, it's starting to be something that I can jam through that. So I'm just gonna right click, move or copy, C0, and move to the end and say okay. Alright, I'm gonna double click C5. Now, the funny thing is that I want to grab that window with my mouse because I have my mouse in my hand, but I can't. I have to go grab the meta controller in order to move the meta window. The Windows window in meta mode. Okay, so now I got the mouse, but now I want to interact with this list. So now it's making me feel as though I need this window if this is the one that, like, who's gonna let me do what I'm trying with it? Well, what do you mean? Well, unless these are side by side, apparently they're not letting me move across desktops. Right? So I'm moving my mouse and then I go to the right and it jumps desktops. Right? Right. Alright, so I'm up to number 5, right? So I double click 5 and I'm expecting it to open up on the right. I'm actually right click and move or copy, C0, move to the end, create a copy, okay. Now, I'm done with that one, right? So I close it. Then I go to cease up. Whatever button that is on that mouse, I want to disable it. There's 2 buttons on the side of this mouse. These. And once in a while, I inadvertently hit it. I think I'm gonna smash those 2 buttons and then I'm gonna tape over the whole. Like, people start adding too much shit. Like, maybe they got smaller hands than I do. I'm like, yeah, I've seen women with really skinny fingers. And I'm like, well, with my big ass thumb, I hit that button about 30% of the time, and it does this. I don't know where I am. I don't know if that was a back or forward or back. What the fuck? Hold on a second. I got a fancy Bluetooth mouse from Logitech. It has 2 tiny buttons on the left-hand side that I keep hitting with my thumbs, and then it makes my window do some weird stuff when I'm using File Explorer. I don't know where it takes me and how to get back, What are those two little buttons? And how can I get back to where I was? That shit. That's what I'm talking about, stress. That shit pissed me off. I don't even know the name of the mouse.
The two tiny buttons on the left-hand side of your Logitech Bluetooth mouse are typically used for navigating forward and backward in web browsers and file explorers. When you accidentally press these buttons, they cause the File Explorer to navigate to the previous or next folder you visited. How to navigate back in File Explorer. To get back to where you were in File Explorer, you can use the following keyboard shortcuts. Alt plus left arrow, go back to the previous folder. Alt plus right arrow, go forward to the next folder. Backspace, go back to the previous folder. Customizing mouse buttons. If you find these buttons inconvenient, you can customize their functions using Logitech software. Download and install Logitech Options. Go to the Logitech Options page and download the software. Install the software on your computer. Customize button functions. Open Logitech Options. Select your mouse from the list of devices. Click on the buttons you want to customize and assign them new functions or disable them. By customizing the buttons, you can prevent accidental navigation and assign functions that better suit your needs. If you need further assistance, feel free to ask.
Documents. Some Python scripts. Some documents. Forward. Documents. Forward. Personal. Forward. Documents. Alright. I don't know the difference between forward and back. Okay. That's right. That's true. Try not to get ahead of me. I did C5. I need C6. That's it. Bitter angry over that. Okay. C6. Well, I can't long press. Do I have to long press it on my breath and let go? No context menu. But mouse. Don't hit the navigate button. Now they got me afraid to hold my mouse. Click that. Right click. It's not working here either. Why? Because you're in File Explorer. That's just a preview. Okay. Check out there. This one is. That's a File Explorer. Interface that popped out version. Nah. Uh-oh. Fuck that. Close File Explorer. Oh, shit. Okay, this is my desktop. Open File Explorer. Alright. Maximize. 2 desktops. That's all I got. Here's the recent files. C6. Double click it. That's just gonna open in the browser. Oh no, okay. Okay, so now can I use this button? Yes. Oh, but once I get in here, this sub menu, they won't let me move it to C0, right? No matter how many times I click. That's just infuriating. Why is that unable to make selections? Move to end, create a copy, and say okay. Whatever. Close this, and then C7. Double click. Alright. keep the mouse in your hand, try to get the mouse. Where's it up here? Alright. Oh wow, it looks like my mouse speed changes when I'm on that surface. Wow. It's still not a whole lot of movement. I need to fix that. Time out. Wow. I'm also all about removing as much stress in my broadcast as I can, because I do tend to get angry. So I'm going to try to fix that mouse speed change. Unmute. Mouse speed. That shit crashed. Are you fucking shitting me? Nope. They're serious. Instability in Windows 11. Did they do that to get us to move to 12 in hopes of gaining stability? I need a down arrow. I don't know what. There it is. Enter. I got lucky. Motion. Select pointer speed. Apply. They won't let me click it. The fuck? Oh shit. Alright, much better. Much better. Okay. Close. Yeah. Right click. Move or copy. C0. This is like the stuff you gotta do to get to a repeatable process, because I notice I'm gonna be looking up these MIDI things a lot. And since I have a spreadsheet in one place, to the right of those notes, I can put, of course I would have to wind up maintaining this document.